had, I guess, a couple questions that have been posed that I thought I would just bring up and in an attempt to, again, add some clarity and some facts to what's going on. One of the accusations that was made was the quarry would be the largest, if not the largest quarry in Tennessee. Well, the quarry is planned first year to do about 400,000 tons a year. Now I know the permit says we've applied for 1.2 million tons, 1,250,000. That's because we put the most limit that we thought we could ever get to, and we wanted to meet the harshest criteria. The bigger the quarry, the more air particulates, the more water issues, and so we wanted to adhere to the most stringent requirements. The quarry will be probably a 500 to 750,000 ton a year quarry, much the same size as the two closest quarries here, the Vulcan Athens quarry and the Vulcan Cleveland quarry. Both those quarries, Athens had done as much as 800,000 tons in 1 year. Now that's at the upper limit of what we think we would do. Cleveland quarry is in the same magnitude. If you look at an aerial, go to Google Earth and look at those quarries, their sites are, their pit sites where they're actually extracting the material from is about, in one case Athens 25 acres and Cleveland quarry 40 acres. That's the area that's being mined. Much the same as what we're planning here. A 25 to 30 acre pit site area. I know there's 420 acres, there's actually 500 some acres. But what will actually be mined is approximately 30 acres. If you also look at the other close quarries, the Athens and Cleveland quarry, you'll see that there are businesses and there are homes within half the distance of what we're, where our quarry is laid out and how close it will be to homes. And the Athens quarry, for example, is within 100 feet of the interstate. So we've prepared a handout that we'll distribute. We certainly didn't anticipate this size of crowd, but we've probably got about 50 handouts we're more than happy to pass around that can kind of give you an idea of the scale and the magnitude. And I know that one of the big pictures on the blog was a quarry that I have no idea where that came from. I'm guessing somewhere in Europe, but it's a huge, monstrous quarry that's nowhere near the type of quarry. We're talking about a normal quarry. The United States has about, on average, a quarry in every county. And so, bottom line is we think we have an average sized quarry, and we think it's going to be positive for this community. We're going to create jobs, create taxes, and most importantly, we're not creating the need for this quarry. The market has the need and has created demand. We're responding to demand. That's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott, for that information. Next, we'll hear from Thomas Williams. Hey, Robert.
Appreciate the opportunity to come talk to you tonight. Several contractors besides yourself seemed to need several years ago for another quarry. Price here just keeps going up higher and higher. I don't know if you realize that the city of Calhoun is actually going to get some streets paved, and the asphalt is actually going to be coming all the way from Chattanooga to Calhoun. And there again, the taxpayers are paying a lot more per mile for asphalt than what they should. And we hope to help alleviate that problem in the future, for McMinn County. I've heard a lot of talk about the wells. Of course, we have to set a seismograph as far as any blasting, and the distance closest well is would not be a concern. We've got a blasting guy that will be here a little bit later. If y'all want to talk to him, you can actually talk to him too. It's on his that's on this property, at some point later, I may build a house on that ridge above that quarry. And certainly wouldn't be scared to live right there above it with beautiful views. And I may retire there someday.
Sir, we can't hear back here, please.
You can hand those out to ones that are concerned. Go ahead and hand those out to ones. Just raise your hand if you are really concerned. We've got maybe not too many. We've got
When they overload it, set it off, they go whoops.
I just want to add a couple of comments here to, Thomas made a comment about water wells. We know that's an issue as a concern. Now, TDEC, Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, has reviewed this site, and they have a criteria of wells that they would monitor and look at if they're within 2,500 feet of the mining area.
Right.
There are no wells, according to TDEC, within 2,500 feet of the proposed quarry area. So that's why Thomas mentions that there's really not an issue regarding, a technical issue regarding wells. The other item that was mentioned was blasting, and an expert will be here later to talk about, answer any questions on blasting, but that's another thing that is controlled by the Tennessee Fire Marshal's office, and the Fire Marshal requires a pre-blast survey to be conducted anytime mining is taking place within 300 feet of a existing structure. Now, the Fire Marshal is the one that dictates, the Tennessee State Fire Marshal's office is the one that dictates the criteria for blasting. Blasting there would be no foundations or properties anywhere near 300 feet, well beyond that. And if there is a concern about blasting and someone wants a pre-blast survey and we deem it something that's of concern, we'll be happy to do that. But when you look at this map that we're sending out and you see that, you know, any foundation within, you know, they're well over 1,000, probably well over 2,000 feet away. And again, pre-blast surveys are only required within 300 feet. People talk about explosives being on site, dynamite. Well, people don't use dynamite anymore. That went out a long time ago. When you do blasting, you use ammonium nitrate, which is nothing more than fertilizer and diesel fuel. So that is what is used for blasting. Ammonium nitrate, diesel fuel, fertilizer, diesel fuel, and you use a blasting cap or igniter to send that off. No dynamite is planned for this quarry operation. And we contacted the seismograph firm, and they will monitor every shot that's made for a blast. In a quarry of this size, you're looking at a blast that happens in milliseconds. So you can't even say one before the blast already goes off. And the ground vibrations have to be below what they call it, 2 peak point velocity. And what that means is that's a measurement of waves. And most quarries shoot when the blast goes off at about a 0.5 to a 1. Anything below a 2 is technically impossible to create any damage to a foundation or a structure. The seismograph people, if you contact them, will tell you if you put a seismograph monitor on the ground in your house and you walk for it, you will have vibration just walking across the floor above 2. So a typical shot will be 10 to 20,000 tons, so we'd be looking at having a blast once or twice a month for less than a second. That's what you're looking at from the blasting side. The distance, one of the key things about this property and this location was the fact that it is so well buffered from terms of quarries, so well buffered from other homes and structures. And when you look at the Cleveland quarry or you look at the Athens quarry, there's all kinds of stuff built up around those quarries, and they're blasting all the time. Yes, sir.
I'd like to address you. I'm general manager of Calhoun Utilities. We have a water tank within a half a mile of this square. You said that we could request a free survey. We want one, because our insurance is going to require it. They told us that we'd have to be engineered to set benchmarks and have them tested every 30 to 90 days for our insurance, and then our insurance will be fighting your insurance, so that's the reason for it. The whole burden of this is proof that you're doing it. I mean, everybody knows that. The burden falls on us, as people or the water company or whatever. But we got a concrete water tank sitting on the same ridge you're going to be blasting on. And if I have to do that, it's going to cost me between $8,000 and $10,000 for the original study. And that'll have to be done every 30 to 90 days. So it's people Calhoun, their water bill's going to go up 10 to 20% pay.
Well, I would recommend, and I know we don't want to open this up to a question and answer session, but I will finish with your question. I'd recommend you consult an expert and you find out first the distance of that location. And we can, we'll handle it on a case-by-case basis. But if you talk to a blasting expert or a seismograph person, they would tell you that you are well beyond any limits where there should be a concern. They blast near fiber optic plants that are within 50 to 100 feet away.
I agree with that, but our insurance is no good if we don't do it.
Mr. Carver, would you like to come forward and make a statement?
I too want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and having us here. I own, with another partner, 1,056 acres where the quarry sites are located. And what's disturbing to me as a local resident is that I think all of us, most of you in this room, have fallen victim to very false propaganda. I have done a little research myself and checked these guys out. Obviously anybody can come in and tell you anything. And this is where I live. This is where I raised my family, just like all of us in this room. I'm very much concerned with the environment. I'm very much concerned with the direction of our country right now. Unemployment being as high as it is, and that's my interest in this. Obviously, I'm selling 503 acres for a 40-acre rock quarry site, and I'm doing that with positive intentions. I think it's going to have some positive impacts for our community, both for the city of Calhoun and also for McMinn County. I'm quite involved with industrial development in Bradley County. I serve as chairman of that industrial board down there. Was involved in recruiting Blocker here to Charleston. I was involved with Whirlpool. Just lately they had an announcement at Whirlpool. And as Scott mentioned before, there is a strong need for aggregate in this area.